No, it was always different.
Well, you're
I
on a new
swear to God, it was
computer
the
now.
same one.
You know what that is? That's exactly
Oh,
what
you
it
know what?
is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those things like I have to solve those things in my head before I can go on. Otherwise, that's what I'll do through the whole show. Like, was that voice different? I don't know. I can't remember. Maybe it was. I don't know. Welcome to Inspirations Beyond Disabilities. We are the live stream, we are the podcast, and we are here with Kai and Ezrick to talk about ADHD. What? Not blindness? No, ADHD. Although I will say there has to be some sort of intersectionality between the two.
I was gonna
So,
say that I feel like there is like some correlation with being VI and being, having ADHD because it's I feel like it's a lack of yes, it's a lack of focus, but it's also like we get distracted by other things other than
yeah,
just sight.
that's true. I can't sight lock on really anything. You know what I mean?
I don't think any of us can sight lock on anything.
Yeah, no, but
I was gonna say, next time somebody asks me, I'll just tell them that my eyes have ADHD because they can't focus.
I think no, you know what's funny? I did a video, did a TikTok on how nystagmus is basically your eyes on ADHD because they can't focus. They're
right.
just jumping around all over the place trying to get focus.
Yeah, you'd think after 22 years they just give up. Like, fuck all. You're not gonna, you're not gonna focus. Stop trying.
Stop jumping around. Just stay still.
Stop jumping around. Just stay still. Exactly that. But I
Wow.
can't stay still for shit. So what the hell do I know? I'm sorry. You were
No,
doing an intro and I
no, I
got
wasn't.
distracted.
This is the intro. Welcome. Hey, yeah, no, because I think there's two camps. There's people that were diagnosed with it and people that just feel they have the tendencies of it. And so I just wanted to say, like, ahead of the show, I'm not an expert on this. I did a show note, and I pay attention and I sometimes feel like I have certain characteristics of ADHD, but I also don't know if like they're consistent. Like I don't know if I always feel that way or if it's a mood thing. So
Mhm.
I'm careful to diagnose myself. So I want to tell people if you hear anything in here that you relate to, that just means you need to seek further medical advice. We are not the ones to offer that.
That is a fact.
Very
And
much not.
but I almost guarantee you that you can think of a time in your life where you were distracted or careless or mean. And so I don't want people to like think, well, I was mean to somebody in 10th grade. So obviously I have ADHD. And so, but also characteristics are something you can work on. I think with being blind, for me, it's like an OCD because I need to know where my things are.
Mhm.
There's like certain things that I remember my mind goes through things like where's the TV remote in the bedroom? Where's all the toilet paper? What am I going to eat next? There's a whole big thing that I have to do mentally to prepare for everything I do. And it might come off as ADHD sometimes.
Copy.
Yeah, good, good. So ADHD wait, wow. Okay. So wow, I added a
Wow,
tweet
really?
somewhere. I added a tweet somewhere in here. Sometimes ADHD is having too many tabs open in your browser and you just can't close them or you can't choose which one to pick. Do you feel like that, Kai?
Did you say you can't choose which one to pick?
You can't choose which tab to open. They're just all open.
Okay, sure. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no. I have 54 or so tabs open in my browser right now.
So that makes sense,
Yeah,
metaphorically and literally.
that is correct. I saw a meme. It's old, so I'm sure everyone's heard of it, but it was something like having ADHD is like when you have a bunch of tabs open on your computer and you can't figure out where the song is coming from and everything is like frozen and it
Yes.
was like this whole thing and I was like, yeah, okay, accurate.
That's actually the exact tweet. You have a bunch of
Is
tabs
it
open
really?
and you can't find where the music is coming from.
Look at that. See, it's a classic.
Yeah. 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 And I think that's the way most people feel. But then I think that just eggs other people on to feel that way too. Sometimes sympathies, but sometimes recognize it. It's nice to have a word to share with other people about what's going on with you. People
Mhm.
understand ADHD, but sometimes they don't understand like attention deficit or something else. Attention deficit, just ADD. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
guess they view the hyperactivity part and think, oh, so everybody with ADHD is like super super speedy. No,
Mm-hmm.
it's their brain being speedy, not them.
Right. And like Kai said, sometimes she just disassociates because sometimes it's an internal thing. It's not an external thing.
Exactly. You know, it's funny when we're talking about dissociation. I think you and I both looked at each other and we're like, "Did we just disassociate because we're stoners?" Or just
I know,
'cause we're
right? Do I do that just because I'm a rude fuck that doesn't want to talk to people? So let me ask you this, Ezrick.
Shoot.
Do you have a short attention span or are you easily distracted?
I think it's both.
Yeah.
It's definitely both. Like I I can definitely like put my focus onto one thing for like if it's something interesting to me,
Yeah.
definitely. But like after a while, my brain is gonna be like, well, where is the dopamine? Because I am not getting it anymore.
Yeah. That's interesting.
As I do know this, like ADHD is basically your brain constantly looking for a new source of dopamine, looking for that, new like not high, but new excitement, new something to keep your brain enthralled.
Hmm. I
And
like
that's
that.
why, we'll be doing dishes, and if we don't have music playing, something will distract us and pull us away from the dishes. You
Is
understand what I'm
that
saying?
what it
Facts.
is? That's
Mhm.
interesting.
You need like something to keep your mind on task. That's why most of us with ADHD, we usually do like homework with music on, or like we
Mm-hmm.
we kind of minutely multitask without even realizing it. Like there are moments, because the beauty of audio description, I can be watching TV, listening to the show, and I'll be laying down on my bed on Amazon shopping,
Yeah.
but still focused on the show. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I totally do. I need music everywhere I go. And the music like bores me quickly. I'll listen
Mhm.
to half a song and be like, man, no, that's not what I want to hear. But I won't like look for a song I want to hear. I'll just hit shuffle 20 times
Mhm.
until the song comes up because I'm that lazy. Hi, Kai.
Hi.
I saw your hand up and I couldn't tell. All I saw
Oh
was an
no,
arm.
I was scratching my head.
Oh, okay. That's the international sign for podcasting to, hey, talk to me.
Is it really?
Uh-huh.
See
You
how much I
make
know about
music.
podcasting?
So does ADHD hinder or help you in making music?
I feel like make is a strong word, but
Create, develop.
oh no, I should have said music is a strong word. Anyway, um, that was the right response. So,
You put weird
interestingly
sounds
enough,
together in a unique order.
I do. I put bleep bloops on my computer and then I send them out. It's lovely.
I put fart
Um,
sounds in my videos, so we're
you
even.
do. You do that. Oh, I just said doo doo.
Doo
Wow.
doo.
We
Oh
can't handle another
man,
poop episode. We can't
we
do
can't.
this here.
There's the name of
Ah,
there's
poop.
the name of the episode. We can't have another poop episode.
We can't.
Can I just say I love the title you gave it? All poop.
Dude, I swear to God, I saw that and I was like, yeah, that's the one. You can't do
Yeah.
anything better.
That was more
Anyway,
about Dave being upset about the swearing, and I just imagined him being like, "Oh shit."
No, I just have to, like, I know this is wrong, but I have to laugh at the fact that when Dave started ranting, how you just put music over it.
that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying.
That was priceless.
I was fucking dead in the middle of the warehouse. I was just like, the fucking dubstep. Oh my God, I can't deal with it.
Thank you.
Can I just
Editing
say
is
though,
fun.
you gotta keep that clip of maybe you should go back to school and then beat drop 10 out of 10.
I love that. See, editing to me is just awesome. But if it's not a good conversation, then it's boring as fuck to me. Like I
I
would
swear
rather
to
do
God.
I would rather do 80 edits in a great conversation than no edits for a 10-minute poop conversation. You know what I mean? So when I heard it wasn't Ezrick's story as much as the just tale on opinion about where to leave poop and what we're walking on and how we should, all that stuff. It just I don't know. I knew where Ezrick was going. He left poop and the guy could have addressed it a unique way, in a different
Mhm.
way, like, hey, I'm going to meet my neighbor instead of I'm going to fucking yell at my neighbor. So I saw where you were going.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We all got to be better to each other. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Absolutely.
But you know
And
what? That leads to a perfect segue.
what's that?
Impulse.
Ooh, okay.
Impulse control. Apparently, that man did not have it, but do we have it? Do some of us have it? I know
Mm.
me, sometimes I do not have it at all. Like this lovely scratch above my my left eye. I got it because I was super excited and
Mm.
my ADHD sprung out and I was in a rush. So I started running to the train station, which as a
Wow.
blind person, running is never a great idea.
Were you still using your cane in a proper manner? Asks Brittany.
I would say 50-50.
Yeah.
50-50 because I'm pretty sure the cane would have prevented me hitting the pole, but it is what it is. Like I said, it was, impulse control. I was super excited. I was going to meet up with some friends and have a crazy night out, and I started the night crazy without even being drunk.
Face. I can't tell you the last time I ran. I think that comes with age though. Like I have an impulse, but then I realize it's gonna affect me negatively. So I think through it. But I have a lot of impulses. I just don't act on them all.
Well, I think with ADHD, the impulse control thing is you having those impulses and acting on them
Ah,
more immediately. Like,
but is it instinctual or is it like something that you have to do to get out of your head?
I think it's more just like instinctual. Like sometimes I'll stop the thought and be like, well, this is a dumb thought. You're not doing it. But
Right.
like there are moments where my brain just goes, no, you're just gonna do it. You're gonna say that thought. You're gonna make that move. You're just gonna do it. Just do it.
And find out
Because
what happens, right?
exactly. Because the more and more you sit here with me in your head, just continuously
Uh-huh.
thinking, you're not gonna you're nothing's gonna happen. You're not getting
Right.
anywhere.
That's why I asked that question, because I'll lay in bed and well, what I do is I wait, and once I gather three things in my head, then it's like, all right, I'll get up and do that. But I'll sit there and be like, I should get water. I should get water. I should get water. Hey, I should get water and go to the bathroom and grab a treat. And then, oh, there's three things, and I'll get up and do it. That's how I work around that.
He's like, make it count.
Yeah.
Make the
Yeah.
use of my legs count.
Otherwise, I get so tired. I get up all the time. I lay back down. It's like, oh no, I wanted this, and I'll get up, and then I'll lay back down and be like, oh, my iPad, and I'll get back up, and
Oh,
you know
okay.
what I
So
mean?
that segue into another lovely topic. Does any of us like? I know this happens to me, but do you ever like walk out of your room and walk into another room and you're like, why the hell did I just walk in here?
Yeah, that's a
Here you
phenomenon, isn't
go.
it?
Here you go.
How about you,
Yeah, I
Kai?
heard it was God playing Sims actually, but I think that's I there was a time, I think it was literally 2 weeks ago, I had
I think
walked
he
into
has
the
too many
bathroom.
Sims.
I'm saying, I'm saying, oh, dark joke. Anyway, so I walked into the bathroom and I walked back out because I didn't have to shit or nothing. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I did not mean to bring
Go
it back to
ahead.
poop.
It's
So I
okay.
walk back in and then I walk out and I'm trying to figure out why I keep walking in there because I knew it was something. And I think it was
Hmm.
something like a headband or something. But I spent 5 minutes walking in, walking out, walking in, walking out. And I was driving myself insane because I could not. Every time I'd step in the door, I'd be like, now what was it?
Right.
Yeah,
No,
no, most frustrating thing
I
ever.
don't know. Is that ADHD or is that like everybody? Because I heard everybody that affects everybody.
I
So I'm
feel like that
I
affects
curious.
think that's
everybody, but
everybody.
I think with ADHD, your brain is more scattered, so it's more prevalent. Does that
Mm,
make
Oh, I can tell
sense?
you right now, my brain is more scattered. I mean,
right. You have 50 things on your mind. So when you walk out that door, there's still 49 possibilities. And you're like,
Exactly.
which one was it? That happens to
right.
me all the time. Yeah.
Like, I
I,
told my mom, because she was like, I don't think you have it. You're not hyperactive. And
mm,
I was like, well, just because I'm not super hyper all the time, first of all, doesn't mean I'm not hyperactive because I can't stand still to save my life. When we're in like work meetings, I'll like sway or I'll like twist. There was one time I tried so hard to get myself to stay still. So I was like, your legs are not going to move. You're going to
wow.
lean on something. And I would still like twist. And I was like, what the
Hmm.
fuck? Like, I could not, I don't know. But there was something else. Oh, yeah. I had told my mom that in my experience, which I am undiagnosed, I don't know if I mentioned that earlier,
Me too.
um, having undiagnosed ADHD, I guess I'll specify, is like when you check your phone to see what time it is, and then you put it away, and then you forget what time it was, so you have to go back and look at it. But it's like that, but like 50 fucking times.
Right.
Like everyone goes through those little things, but when your entire day looks like that and it's debilitating,
Mm-hmm.
fuck.
Yeah. I was telling you about the other day. I was trying to research Malta. I woke up at 9:30 and was like, all right, by 10, I was like, I'm going to research Malta. And at 1:30 in the morning, I was talking to you going, I got to research Malta.
Yeah.
It's not that I have tons of things or I'm scattered. It's I can hyper focus on one thing after another, after another, after another. I can lose my focus and slide to something else really easily, but then focus on that extremely until I defocus on and refocus on something else.
Oh yeah, I was gonna mention hyperfocus when you asked me about the music question, but then I got distracted because of course I did.
Welcome to
Um,
ADHD. Oh, and by the
right.
way, hey everybody, if you want to make a podcast while taking a shit, like
Oh
Kai
my
wanted to
God.
do earlier, maybe Anchor is the way to go.
And if you don't want to
That's
do it while you're on
iconic.
the toilet, go with Red Circle.
Boom, somebody knows his shit. Oh, that was a pun. I'll go with
Oh
that.
my God. Oh my God, no. No.
This
But
is
I did want to
awful.
ask about
I
that. Like,
appreciate
and next week, I believe we're going to do an episode more on music. So, but does that help you? Does ADHD help you or does it hurt
Yes.
you? Because I'll put a sound in and I'll love that sound. But then 10 minutes later, I'm like, that sound is fucking driving me crazy.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I think hyperfocus is the biggest thing when it comes. Okay, so this week I had just gotten a digital audio workstation, and so I was fucking around
Yeah.
with it. And because I had been in hyperfocus mode for the past like 2 weeks, like every day I'd get home from from work, and then I would
Mm,
do something with it for like an hour, and then I spent all weekend on my computer doing like nothing else but editing podcasts and then working on this thing because I was like, I just want to learn how to sound design and I literally didn't do anything else, and my friend had to call me to remind me to eat something because I just
right.
would not get off of this computer. And with that being said, music is amazing because I would put like a synth solo in a song or something, and then I'd be like,
Hmm.
this gives me so much happy juice. And then I would just like listen to the synth solo and edit it. And
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. But I always add something too far. Or I've
Oh, yeah,
heard
me
it
too.
so much that now it's just routine and boring and I don't want to hear it again. And so I close the project and I'll open another one and start another song and get bored of that one and then start another song, you know?
Maybe I should do that though, because I will. I'll tweak and I'll edit the stuff that I
Hmm.
create so much until it's boring and predictable to me. And then I'm like, well, it must be boring and predictable to everybody. But I keep
Right.
forgetting that it started as a new creative concept.
Hmm.
So maybe to other people it won't sound so boring, but because I fucked with it so much, which is why I'm trying to pry myself away from it, because I don't want to ruin it for myself,
Right.
if that makes sense.
Hmm. Totally does. It sucks worse when you hit when you write lyrics because then you try and put lyrics to something and you're like, oh, now that sounds like shit. So you try and do a different voice and then you do a different song and use the same lyrics because that's what's in your head. It's so weird when those focuses cross over, you know. I'm tired of the music, but I still got the lyrics in my head.
Yeah, I'm like that with melodies actually. A lot of the time it's always melodies with me. And I can't even really write melodies like that, but there'll be like a repeating melody or something that'll just be in my head all the time and I'm like, "Well, I got to put this thing somewhere. It needs to find a
Right.
home."
Yes. I like that. Do you do when you listen to music? Do you do when you do when you when you listen to music? Do you listen to like the beat? Because I'll listen to the beat and I'll find myself tapping to it even when the song is over,
Oh my
and then I
god.
have a problem. I'm like I can't stop tapping for
The
some
worst is
reason.
when I'm doing it on the
Yes.
subway and I feel like people are looking at me tapping my foot to
Yeah.
like possibly to what to them is nothing, but to me is something.
Right.
But it's funny that we're talking about like movements and not being able to stay still. I know one thing that I've always struggled with, and I think Jason has seen it over time, is fidgeting. Like for me to not like be all over the place, I have to like do something with my hands, my arms, something like something has to be moving, like Kai said earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And
At all times.
I think that's why the rise of like kids with fidget toys have come up. But like now I think it has created a problem. Like I feel like it has created more kids to start having ADHD, because now they're like, oh, these toys that we could play with while we're in class. Now, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I get it.
Like
Hey,
it was
Kai.
originally
Oh,
there to help us, but now, yeah.
hey, Kai, do you make like careless mistakes like in schoolwork? You don't do schoolwork. Do you do schoolwork?
I don't do schoolwork anymore, but I do make careless mistakes. Like at work, I will often forget which, laptop or something I had worked on and which one I haven't, or I'll put it in just incredibly the wrong place. And I'll
Mm,
realize a few minutes later, like, what was I doing? Or I'll leave one just somewhere and then I'll come back to it and be like, I don't remember why I left this here. And it's kind of a huge it's not okay, it's not a huge problem,
right.
but I'm not going to act like it never affects my productivity because, and especially the other day, I left my watch charger at home, so I couldn't listen to music or podcasts or anything. And as Ricky mentioned that earlier,
Mm,
if I don't have something to listen to, I can't. I cannot. I
right.
quite literally can't. And so that day was hell for me.
Eek.
You know, it's ironic. I used to be a forklift driver and I needed music. So I bought earbuds and the boss said no to the earbuds. And I was like, but we wear earplugs. Why can't I wear earbuds? Like, is it better that I hear nothing or music? It was always this argument. I think that's warehouse stuff is funny that way.
Warehouse stuff is, I'll tell you one thing I've noticed though, because that whole day I couldn't have my headphones in.
Hmm.
If I don't have music, I'll hum to myself, I'll sing to myself, I'll dance
Oh
around.
my
But if I
god.
have music on, it's almost like a pacifier. It's really freaking weird and I don't understand it. I will be
Yeah.
still and I will be hyper focused on what I'm doing. But god damn it, if you take my headphones, I won't even realize that I've been singing for the past 2 hours because I just have
Hmm.
to like have something.
Uh-huh.
Awful.
I love that. Just randomly singing the songs. And while I'm listening to music, I'm like taking it apart. I'm listening to it. I'm like, ooh, look at that. There's three drum tracks in there. Oh, and there's the synth. And you know what I oh, listen to the
Hmm.
little background like that's what I'm doing with the songs. And so I pick my music a little differently than how I used to pick it. You know, we were talking about like metal, and metal was just like everything at you at once. But music these days is so produced that you can literally just pick it apart like that. It's made to
Hmm.
be disassembled, you know?
Yeah, I love that. I'd always ask people like why they would like put things apart just to put them back together and how much of a
Hmm.
like waste of time that seemed to me. Not judging anybody, but that's just kind of how I thought. And then I thought about the way that I listen to music because I do. I listen to the song as a whole and then I'll listen to like the stems basically. And
Right.
every time I notice like a new little part in like the back left headphone or something, I'll just get really excited and be like,
Yeah.
"Wow, that's a really nice synth pad. I wonder who came up with that. It's so subtle." Like that's
Yes.
always kind of how I've listened to it, and the backup vocals because you don't really realize all the little harmonies that are panned
Hmm.
and I used to take my headphones back when headphone jacks were a thing,
Right.
and I would like pull it halfway out so that you could only hear the background and then I would just listen to the song that way like a
Uh,
psycho.
no,
It was
I've
lovely.
done that. On a side note, there's this podcast called Song Exploder where they have artists on and they explain how the song started. So they'll do like a little, this is the sound that started the song. And it's so cool to like listen to how they put the song together. And then at the end, they do the whole song at once. And I just, yeah, that to me, that's so cool. I don't really even care who the artist is. It's just learning their tricks, you know?
Oh, that sounds lovely. Oh my
Yeah.
God, that's gonna be my new podcast today.
Yes, you can, and it's only like 15 minutes, 20 minutes. So you can like binge those things. It's pretty cool.
I love
So
that.
Ezrick, you were talking about chores, and you actually, one of the questions is, do you have a hard time doing tedious things? But you
Okay.
explained a workaround for that, and that was music. So I don't even
That
know.
does help, but there is something called executive functioning, which is
Yeah,
like
bring that up. I saw that
which
all
is
over Twitter today.
which is like basically when we have a task, like let's say I have to organize my desk, right? It looks messy, but because of the way it looks, my brain is like, yeah, you don't want to do that. Let's not do that. Like avoid it as much as you can.
Gotcha. Do
And
other
it's
things.
because of how overwhelming it seems. So like any task that seems overwhelming or too tedious, my brain goes avoid it, avoid it, avoid it, even though I know I have to do it.
Mm.
And if I do get engaged in it, if I'm not fully engaged, if like I don't find a way to like get too focused on, like hyper focused on it, then
Mhm.
I'm gonna eventually like step away, do something else, and totally forget that I was organizing my desk. Like
Wow.
I could pick up a piece of, for example, like I'm cleaning my desk, and if I find a grinder that still has weed in it, I'm just gonna play with the weed just for a couple of minutes, just because of
Yes.
like it's a distraction now.
Yes. I
So my
totally relate to that.
so my brain goes, okay, just move the grinder around a couple of times, like you know. And then I'm like, what was I doing again? Oh fuck, cleaning my desk.
Yeah. That's funny because I'll be like, I'm gonna go do the dishes because I don't want to clean my desk. I'm gonna go outside because I don't want to clean my desk. I'm gonna do
Mm-hmm.
everything else in the world other than clean my
It's
desk.
procrastination at its finest.
So, but it looks like I'm accomplishing a lot, but I'm not accomplishing what I wanted to,
Wanted
just
to.
what
Yep.
is
Hmm.
happening. And on the other hand, I don't like people adding spontaneous stuff into my schedule. Like, don't do that to me. Don't distract yourself with me. I don't like that. Like when other people are like, you got to get this done and this done and this done.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, nope, 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 nope.
So I have a
Interesting.
question. There,
Yeah.
some people say that
Yes.
people with ADHD, like benefit from structure. Me being a fully diagnosed person with ADHD, I've found when I have the day planned out ahead of me, things go a little bit easier
Hmm.
just because I have a schedule to kind of adhere to. But when I have nothing to do, no plans, my day just becomes a retard sorry, I don't like that word, a wild free for all.
Hmm.
Where I just do whatever like grabs my attention, whatever source of dopamine I can find, I'm there.
Love that.
I agree with that. I don't remember if it was here or on my other thing or if I was just zooming with Jason and talking about it, but I was talking about how at work, the reason I really like the position that I do is because it's a step-by-step thing. I have a marker board on my fridge with a checklist of things that I need to do. Like I love me some structure. Love
Yeah,
me some structure because I will not get shit done if I do not have structure in my day.
exactly. I feel the same way. And that's why I don't like other people's spontaneous stuff. Like I have a
Exactly.
schedule and
It's
like,
kind of why that little egg timer that Kai was showing me the other day, like stuff like
yeah,
that comes in handy because it helps you, one, stay on task,
yeah,
and two,
Exactly.
continue the structure.
yeah. And
Oh,
sometimes
can I
it,
plug that? It's not
yes, plug it,
sponsored, but
plug it.
so hashtag not sponsored. Um,
Oh my
damn it, I was trying
God.
not to make myself laugh. So there's this thing, and it's called the beep egg, right? And basically, if you want your egg to be like soft boiled, it'll play one song, and if you want it to be like medium or whatever, it'll play a different song. So you just gotta wait for each song,
Yeah.
and that helps me because I am ass at time management and literally will forget that I've had an egg boiling for 2 hours. But I feel
Mm-hmm.
like it could also help you if you have a visual impairment because instead of having to look at like a timer or something, you can just hear a fucking song, hear a little tune,
Yes.
dance around. Like it's just a
Do
great
you get to
product that
choose
someone
the
had told me
song?
about.
Is the question.
Kind of. There, if you go on like eBay or something,
Hmm.
they have like options. So there's like an 80s beep egg, a 70s beep egg, a 60s, and it'll be like, oh, if you want a soft boiled it, like this one comes with 3 songs. Soft boiled is Kung Fu Fighting, and the second one is Take on Me or something, like it'll like kind of have the
Wow.
track
I like
list.
that. I like that.
Two
It's
of my
so
favorite
cute.
songs. Boom.
It's
Imagine
lovely.
if you could program your own beep egg.
Oh,
Mm.
that would be amazing. I would
Maze
have.
balls, right?
But the thing is, right? I would start boiling an egg. I'd pick up my beep egg and say, I'm going to program this. I want to hear certain songs. And then I'd spend
Mm-hmm.
7 hours programming this
Yes.
beep egg.
Isn't that so funny? I'll
Isn't that
spend hours
excellent?
on like a ringtone, for some
It's
like
really exciting.
oh my God. What a
Sorry.
yoke. That was a funny joke.
Sorry, it was too easy.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Here's a real funny one, like given what we do. Do you have a problem listening or carrying on conversations? Asks the person on the podcast.
I love that.
Okay.
Or
I
are
don't
you
know.
constantly changing activities or tasks? We kind of talked about that. Isn't that funny? I didn't have to ask you all the questions there. You answered them all in advance. Do you have difficulty
Yeah.
organizing tasks? No, we like structure. That's what the charts are. And that's all the questions.
Oh, snap. Okay, so I've got a question.
Yeah.
Do you guys also struggle with executive dysfunction? Because holy hell.
Tell me what it is and I'll let you know.
Oh, fuck, I gotta define things. Okay, so
No,
I
your
don't know what the
definition.
actual okay, cool, because I was about to say I'm not smart enough to know the friggin' internet definition. Basically, when I talk about my executive dysfunction, I talk about how if I have to, we'll say do the dishes, right? My
Mhm.
brain will take that and be like, okay, first you have to check if the dishwasher's clean, then you got to put the dishes up, then you got to rinse the
Yes.
dishes that you have in the sink and put them in the thing, and then you got to wash the other ones by hand, and then you got to clean. Like there are so many steps that I'm paralyzed, and it's not that I'm not motivated to do it because I want a
Hmm.
clean house, and I'll sit there and I will be like in tears, like agonizing over the fact that I just want to get this done, but there's
Hmm.
something in my brain that's like, no, no, you're gonna sit your ass here and you're not gonna move, and it is insane because from the outside it looks like I'm just a lazy fuck who doesn't want to do anything and I
Mm-hmm.
have to
Right.
explain to people that I want to but for some reason I can't, and that's a really hard thing to explain.
Right.
That's me and cleaning my bongs.
Wow.
Everybody comes and it's like, it's dirty. I'm like, I just cleaned it. Like, I just cleaned it. I hate cleaning them. Like, just bear with me.
For me, the task always includes like underlying tasks. Like I want to sweep the floor, but there's laundry on the floor. So now I got to put the laundry away and now I can sweep the floor, but oh, the garbage can's in the way. Now I got to empty the garbage. And
Mm-hmm.
so for me, it's a cascade of other responsibilities. And I'll do what Kai does. I'll hit a point and be like, I don't know what to do next. I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know if I even want to. I don't know. But what I do is I give myself a reward system. Like if you accomplish your task, you'll get to lay down for a half hour. You know what I mean? And I always
If
tell
only that
people
worked for me.
Yeah, that
it's
does
because of
not work
my
for me at
eyes,
all.
No, but I also give myself the space. Like when I'm brain locked, I'll go lay down. I'll be like, whatever. It can't be that important. Nothing's gonna kill me today. You know what I mean? So, but it's a lot of that bargaining and negotiating, a lot of bargaining with myself to accomplish goals. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that is definitely
Oh yeah.
that is definitely it.
Yeah. Shoot. So let's see. Are you unable to sit still? Yeah, especially in
Yup.
calm or quiet surroundings. Wow. Yeah, we all just said, where did these questions come from? Are you constantly fidgeting, Ezrick?
Sitting here with a fidget ring in my hand right now as we speak.
Unable to concentrate on tasks? Are you prone to excessive physical movement? That sounds like
That's the
fidgeting
same
to me.
fucking
I
question.
pace.
What the
I
hell?
pace. No, I think they're
Oh, I
referring to
pace
like
like a
pacing.
motherfucker.
Yes.
Oh my
Oh,
God. When I'm on the phone, I will not sit.
Oh.
I don't think I've ever
Mm-hmm.
sat still while on the
right.
phone.
Yep.
Wow. Hey, Dave, are you unable to wait your turn?
Shit.
Sorry. Do you act without thinking? Yeah, as Rick just told us, he does. That's so wild.
I do
Let's
want to get
see.
back to the one about like conversations.
Yeah.
I did see this TikTok that I kind of like started to pick up on that I do this. And it's when your brain has a thought and you only give half the thought.
Hmm.
So like we could be talking about ADHD and I'll be like, so Jason, did you speak to him? You're like, who's him? I'm like,
Mm-mm.
Jay, did you speak to Jay? And I'm like sitting here in my brain thinking that I gave you half of it. I gave you the other half, but all you got was, did you speak to him?
Right.
Yep. I saw that TikTok and I was like, I swear to God. Because
I
I
do
do.
that
I'll
all
look
the
at people all
time.
the time and be like, I mean, I hate it. And they're like, okay, me too. And I'm like, yeah. And then like it'll be an hour later, I'll be like, wait, did she know what I was talking? No, she didn't. That's okay. It's fine.
I'm one of those guys that understands that. For some reason, like half statements sit in my head for a while. Like I don't know what we were talking about, but I was like, oh, I don't know what show that's from. You know what I mean? But then that was what was in my head. And so someday I'll just come back and be like, and I'll say
That's
the
what it
name of the
was.
show, and I bet you Kyle will be like, "Yep, you're right," and I can't even remember what it
Yep.
was.
Absolutely.
But I get what you're
Absolutely.
talking about, and I have to tell people like because what people do is they have a conversation in their heads, and then they come and yell at you, but they didn't have that conversation with you. Just they want to have the argument, but they think you know everything that they thought. And it doesn't work that
Yep.
way. Yeah. How about this one, Kai? Wait, Ezrick, do you have a problem interrupting conversations?
I plead the fifth.
Okay.
I believe it.
Do you have little or no sense of danger, Kai?
Yes. Oh my God, let me tell you a story. So one day, right, it was raining outside and I was not trying to get rained on. So I walked out and the first car that I saw, I just assumed was my Lyft. And I just walked up and got in the car, didn't even look at the license plate, and I said, I
Mhm.
really hope you're my Lyft because it's raining outside. And he just looked at me for a second and was like, yeah, I'm your Lyft. And we started going. And I just thought, I really just gambled with my life because I didn't want to get rained on.
I have a question. Is this the same one that's like infamous now?
This is not,
The
this is not the same
kombucha
one.
warrior.
The kombucha warrior.
I'm sorry. I still am a little upset that he continued to call you a lesbian.
Well, I mean, yeah, because I lied to his fucking face. I mean,
Oh, okay.
yeah, no, well, because a lot of men don't understand asexual. Like, if I tell
Right.
somebody that, they think that I'm like playing hard to get and I just need a man to turn me out. But if I'm like, nah, dude, I'll be giving bitches the time of their lives. They're like, oh, okay, cool, fine. And
Mhm.
it's not like it's super mad. Like, I was gonna clarify at the end of the podcast or put a blurb in the description, but the fact of the matter is, if I wake up tomorrow and I feel like fucking something, that's my business. So like, no one
Mhm.
really. But it was funny that he brought it up so much because he did excessively bring it up, and I was like, are
Yeah.
you just trying to remind yourself that I'm not into you? Yeah.
I
Could be.
literally think that's what it was, but I'm gonna shut up.
But hey, that's okay. If that helps him sleep at night, like I'm sorry that the master texter wasn't into you, but
Yeah, it's just this monolithic
Listen.
thinking that
He
all
got
women
chocolate
want to
cake
be with
and
all men.
exactly. What did you say, Ezrick? I'm
I
sorry.
was gonna say, listen, he doesn't have to complain. He got chocolate cake and Rick and Morty, okay?
I'm saying, do you know how happy I would have been with chocolate cake and Rick and Morty? So
Right?
happy.
Yeah.
And he's over here complaining that you didn't give him the time of day.
I know, but I thought about it. I was like, that just means that I'm cool as shit. If you can have Rick
Mhm.
and Morty and chocolate and think about me instead, like I must be the
Mhm.
shit. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Oh no.
Oh yes,
I will
Oh
mess with
exactly
yeah.
time.
that.
Sorry, I love Rick and Morty. I just got sort of tired of Rick and Morty the other day. I put it on and I was like, oh, I've seen this one so much. So I tried switching to something else. I don't
When
know.
is the new season coming out?
It just ended. So another 2 years or so. I don't know. I love familiar shows. Like I'll watch Bob's Burgers endlessly because I know it, and then my mind doesn't have to think about it. I already know what's coming,
I'm the
and I
same
think
with
that's.
Family Guy.
Are you?
Yeah, Bob's Burgers I can never get into. I don't know why.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
it's amazing. Felt the same way until I really sat down to watch it one day, and I was like, this shit is fire.
Yeah. You know why it's fire? Because there's absolutely no reality in it. Not once do they mention like a Donald Trump or a Joe Biden. Nope. Nope. And I
Exactly.
love that. That's what I love about it. Family Guy, American Dad, they're always trying to stick like culture in my face, not Bob's Burgers, just smelly people, I guess, or people with rabbit ears. And I relate to different people on the show. Like for a while, I'm just like, man, I hate this Gene guy. But then all of a sudden, I realized Gene is pansexual, and that's cool. Like they're subtly putting that into the show, and I kind of like him from that perspective. I hate him as a stupid teenager, but I kind of like him as like an immature pansexual. Sorry. So do you have
Buttons?
these are so buttons on your underwear. Um,
What?
yeah, these are related conditions in children, and you're just beyond that, but you're so young. You're so young. How about anxiety disorder? Yeah.
Oh god.
Okay.
That causes a child to worry and be nervous much of their time, right? Is that something you had to deal with, Ezra? You're the
I
diagnosed one, right?
Yes, I am the diagnosed one.
Nice.
I struggle with it to a point where it's like really bad. And I think part of it is the ADHD, and then the other part of it is it's undiagnosed, but I'm almost certain I have it, PTSD. And there are just moments where I'm like, outside and it's a situation that just becomes overly stressful, and I get anxious to the point where it's like my chest is not, like my heart is not pumping blood properly.
Mm-hmm.
My breathing is shallow. Like my brain is rapidly figuring out a way to get the hell out of this situation. It's just a shit show in itself.
So like a panic attack.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've gotten those too. Yeah. I don't see Kai ever panicking. You know what I mean? She's so cool under pressure.
Is that a joke?
Holy shit, I love that thing on your microphone. Why is this the first time I noticed that you have a huge ball on your microphone?
You didn't notice my huge ball?
I never noticed your huge ball. That's what happens when you
really
podcast with
offended.
blind people.
Oh my God. All this
Wow.
talk of balls.
All this talk of balls. I love that. Say that again.
Balls.
Balls.
All this talk of balls.
All this talk of balls. I
Listen,
love that.
Mr. Public Access, I don't want to hear shit from you.
Okay, Louisville.
Hey, it is not even Louisville. It is Louisville, okay?
Louisville.
The disrespect.
Louisville.
No.
Louisville.
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 Stop.
Listen, it could be worse. We could pull a J and a shy and just go, it's Louisville.
No.
Mm-mm.
Always say it how the person that lives there says it. Here's a question. I have a question for Ezrick, or maybe Kai, because this might tell me everything I need to know. Have you ever suffered from oppositional deficit disorder? And this is defined by negative and disruptive behaviors, particularly towards authority figures.
I wouldn't say I have it, but I know somebody who does.
Okay. Not me.
I can honestly say no. And I think the reason is because motivation is a powerful thing. So if somebody in a position above me is either just, asserting authority because that's what they can do, or they're taking it way too fucking far, I think about how it would be really, I'm not going to say that. I think about how whack it is that they are doing so. But then I remember that I have a home and I have bills and I need things. And so it's a bit easier for me to kind of realize, like, I care about myself too much to give this person what for. So I'm just going to smile it off. And I think I've always been that way, because I was like, well, I don't feel like getting in trouble. When I was a kid, I don't feel like having to stand in the corner. I don't feel like going to detention. So I'm just going to do whatever, get me through it. And now it's, a bit more severe, slightly more severe. I don't feel like losing my home.
Yeah.
So I'm going to.
So you build the consequences into your decisions, even though that you have less of a sense of danger than most.
Yes.
That's interesting.
I think
what's interesting is I care more about losing my house than I care about losing my life, because I just hopped into a lift, but I'll never tell my supervisor what's up. So that's so funny.
Okay. That's just common sense, I think. So how about conduct disorder? We're going to the extreme version, by the way. We're getting into some extreme versions. So conduct disorder involves tendencies towards highly antisocial behavior, such as like stealing, fighting, vandalism, harming people or animals.
Okay, I don't think any of us here have that. I feel like maybe when I was younger, I used to be very like defiant, very aggressive. And part of that, I think, was the medication that I was on. One thing, I don't know if the doctors really mention this, but when you come down sometimes from certain medications, your aggression levels are not the greatest.
Yeah, right.
But
I feel that one.
But I definitely, when I was younger, I definitely used to just get into a lot of shit and not give a crap. Now I'm like, well, jail, that's a thing you're not going to like.
Yeah.
I think the only like real illegal thing that I do to this day, well, it's not smoking pot anymore because it's legal. But it's hopping the turnstile. I refuse to pay for the train out here, and that's because the price of it is not worth it. You know what I mean? The $2.75 that they're charging for this subway ride that's overcrowded, not maintained properly, I'm not paying it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
They're not making it accessible for me during this whole pandemic. This whole pandemic, for me to refill my MetroCard, I have to use one of the electronic kiosks. You expect somebody who can't see a screen, who struggles to see anything, to see a
Right.
screen and put in his information to refill a Metro card. No. The people that are there, that are in the booths, that are watching me swipe my Metro card and using these kiosks,
Mm-hmm.
are there to, usually in the past, they were there to take my money and refill my Metro card. Now they're just there to stand there and look pretty.
Right.
So I'm, gracefully, respectfully, I'm going to hop the turnstile in front of you. And if you give me a ticket, I will take you to court and fight that ticket.
Yeah, you can. So how about let's knock these out real quick. How about depression or sleep problems?
I suffer from insomnia, and I definitely feel like I do go through like bouts of I don't know if it's like situational depression, or if it's just I know there's a different type of name for the depression that ties in with ADHD, where it's just like sporadic from time to time, like it'll come on just with a random thought.
Yeah.
But it's never been like super bad up to the point where I'm like, let's go look for, let's go talk to our doctor about getting me Prozac or Xanax or something. Like, no,
Right.
it's never been that bad. Sleeping, obviously I smoke to sleep.
Yeah, I get sad from time to time. My sleep issues, I mean, Kai knows that. Like, I'm up talking to her at 2 a.m, then I'm up again at 7 a.m talking to my roommate. Then I'm, like I take naps in the middle of the day. I eat, I sleep. Like my sleep schedule's all over the place.
It's funny that you say that. For the longest, my doctor has been saying, "Oh, it's your day and night cycle because you're blind and blah blah."
Nope.
I'm like, no. First off, I could sleep perfectly fine before you put me on this medication. Okay. Yeah. When I was younger, I could sleep perfectly fine. The moment I started Adderall, my sleeping went out the window. It was just a mess. Then eventually I finally got it under control. Like I figured out, okay, music helps. Listening to music, sleeping in a certain position usually helps me. So this is what I got to do. Like, you find certain little tips and tricks to help you get there.
Yeah.
But it's never going to be like 100% as easy as the average person.
I'm curious about Kai's opinion because she actually has the job out of the three of us. Like, I think I don't sleep because I have all the time in the world to sleep whenever I want. Why would I go to sleep at 2 a.m if I'm not tired, right? I don't have a job to go to, but Kai, you have a schedule. So does that affect you?
Yes. So, funny enough, because you, Ezrick, mentioned medications, I actually do have some experience with medication. It was like a few years ago when I was actually formally diagnosed with anxiety and depression, but not ADHD. They put me on Prozac, and I stopped having meltdowns during the day. I stopped being a wreck, because there was a time at work when I literally just like could not. I don't even know what happened. I don't think anything happened, but I was just like, no. So because I'm me and I'm a Capricorn moon, I was like, well, this now that it's interrupting my money, this is a problem. So I need to do something about it. So I went to the doc and we got Prozac, and we also got Buspirone. And they said I'm supposed to take the Buspirone before I go to bed because it's like that one was for anxiety. So I took it and I could not sleep at all. And I didn't know if it was the medication. So I tried it a few more nights and I just would lay awake. And then I stopped taking the Buspirone at night, but I still would take my Prozac every day. And then I had like every dream I had was about not, we're not gonna get it. So then I was like, okay, so my depression is now just transferring into my dream state if I don't take the anxiety medication. It was a really complicated thing.
Wow.
So now I am just kind of raw dogging it. I stopped taking my medicine. Don't do that, kids. Do not just stop taking your medicine. Oh my God, I'm sure that probably fucked with me so bad.
You don't when it comes to an SSRI, you have to wean yourself off in a way a doctor will never let you.
Yeah, I really, really fucked that up, and it fucked with me bad. But anyway,
did you
don't
get
do
like
that, kids.
sparks in your head and stuff, like electric shocks in your? My first wife tried getting off of her SSRI, and she was getting little shocks in her brain.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh my fucking God! No, I didn't have anything like that, but I do think. I know my memory went to shit, and I don't know if it was because of the medication, like getting off the medication or what. But like I used to have a decent memory, and now my memory is so incredibly like dangerously bad.
Yeah.
But anyway, so kids, don't do that. I don't take care of myself the way I should. But now because of work, I have somewhat of a sleeping schedule, but if
Hmm.
I don't get sleep one night, which is bound to happen at least once a week,
Yeah.
I'll just drink a Bang Energy and then I'll be really, really, really hype until I crash the next night. So it kind of makes up for it. I don't know.
Okay.
That's another thing I wanted to talk about is so they say caffeine with people with ADHD like kind of affects us differently.
Hmm.
Like caffeine won't really do anything to us like per se, like it'll just help us focus.
Yeah.
Like it's the equivalent of, taking an Adderall but not taking an Adderall.
Right.
So, I feel like for me it does help, but there are moments where I could like I could drink a Red Bull and still fall asleep.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
But that's just me.
I totally get that. So I just want to jump through some quick ones, and that is, I don't think any of us are on this. And this next one, you need to do a little more research because I'm so hesitant about saying it. But
Oh God.
let's see. Well, I don't know, whatever. Autistic spectrum disorder. And I don't
Oh
want to tell
yeah.
anybody that has ADHD that you're suddenly on an autism spectrum. But what I do know is that while it's two separate things, if you have one, you are more prone to have the other.
Yeah, I've heard don't quote me, but I've heard, that ASD and ADHD do like have some sort of, like minor
Hmm.
correlations from time to time, as well as bipolar as well for some reason.
Okay. And
But
I'm going to throw epilepsy and Tourette's syndrome in there because that wraps up the children symptoms. You know what I
okay.
mean? But I don't think either one of us has that. I think all three of us have a tendency to just say what we mean though. You know what I mean?
But I think what they're getting at with all these other Tourette's, ASD,
Hmm.
bipolar, I think what they're talking about is certain tendencies that we'll have, like the social awkwardness, and that's because our brains are just like looking for the right words to say.
Mm,
Um, the mood swings is because our brains are, looking for a common source of dopamine, so they'll latch
right.
on to whatever mood you're in. So that's where the mistaking of like some people that have ADHD could also be bipolar. It's that
Hmm.
the simple fact that our moods, our brain latches on to whatever mood we have.
Right.
Then there's the whole Tourette's thing. It's we have the tendency to stem or not tick, but like I know for me, like sometimes one thing that I commonly say every day, not every day, but like at least once a day, I'll be like, ba da ba ba ba. I'm loving it. Like just just certain things, like
Hmm.
certain little stems that we have.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure Kai has one, like one little noise or sound that she'll make in a conversation that like helps her, but nobody acknowledges it but her.
Do
Mm,
I?
I don't know.
I
I'm
don't
just
know.
I'm just like saying that this is something that
Yeah.
happens.
Well,
I'm,
I
I'm
do
sure.
know this is such a stupid story. I was talking to somebody one day and I got really excited, and out of nowhere, I just said, "Hell yeah, man, roast beef." And then I just kept talking because I didn't even notice
Hmm.
until that person stopped me and was like, "What?" And I
Roast
was like,
beef.
"What?" And she was like, "Did you just do the roast beef thing?" And I was like, "No, why would I do that?" I wasn't even thinking about that. And I was like, "Oh my God,
I
I
did.
did. Why
Yeah.
did I do that? Where did that come from?" And I don't know if that's a neurodivergence thing. It's
Yeah.
I
We're
don't
gonna
know
have to
why I
do a
did that.
show on neurodivergent. But those last three, I want to say those are spectrum disorders. Like all of them are spectrum disorders, but Tourette's and the autism, those are spectrums, just
I
just
feel
for the
like even
record.
ADHD is a spectrum disorder too, because
Yeah.
you could be like borderline just ADD,
Hmm.
or you can be super hyperactive, this annoying kid that nobody wants to hang around. Like,
Right.
there's so many just like blindness, it's a spectrum.
Hmm. I think, but I think what, like, if you have these symptoms once in a while, once in a year, you might not be ADHD. I think being diagnosed means that's what you're like over 50% of the time.
Hmm.
It's like I had a senior moment. That doesn't mean I have ADHD. It just means I'm getting old.
I just want
So
to plug a Netflix show that I think everybody, because we're talking about ADHD, I think
plug it.
everybody that's listening should, if they're really into this
Mm.
topic, watch it.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Take Your Pills. It's on Netflix. It's pretty good. It talks about one, the development, the development of ADHD medications, but it also talks about how society has created ADHD as a bigger problem than it should be. Meaning, like,
Once you find an umbrella, you try and stick everybody under it, you know?
it wasn't even that. It was more or less because of how what's the word I'm looking for? How much our higher education, like how every year a grade goes up another
Mm.
level. You know what I mean? Like what we were learning in second grade 10 years ago, they're learning in kindergarten. You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, I
Like
get it.
because of that way of learning, so many people fall under the category of ADHD because it's
Mm-hmm.
become so much fast paced than what they're used to.
Yeah, I like that.
So yeah, definitely watch, Take Your Pills if you got the chance on
Okay.
Netflix.
I'm gonna throw now these are things in adults: personality disorder, bipolar disorder, and obsessive compulsive disorder. Do any of you fall on any of those spectrums?
You
I
first or
think
me
I do.
first? Who's going first?
Oh, I'm
You
so
can go.
sorry. I think that describes all three of us, but like to separate degrees. Like those could be our superhero names. Hi, I'm obsessive compulsive man.
At least you only have one. What the hell would I say? Hey, I'm pretty sure I have literally every single problem under the sun. How are you?
Yeah, right.
Mood.
Nice. Okay.
Mood.
So personality disorder is a condition which an individual differs significantly from the average person. So I would say that, yeah, we all are unique.
Then in
That's a
that
nice
rank,
way to
then
put it.
everybody has personality disorder.
Yeah, I think everybody has personality disorder since there is no more normal or average, right?
I
Or
do
average.
think that
I have to ask
neurodivergence is a
Jay.
lot more common than people think it is. Because even
Hmm.
like things like ASD and ADHD, I think that they are so much more common than people think. But there's this weird hierarchy of like, oh no, I can't have that. That
Mm-hmm.
can't be me because of the way, like, the
Mm-hmm.
shut up because of the picture that society paints on it. I don't know if you guys heard my email notification or if I
We
just
did.
Yes, sir.
randomly
It was
shouted.
kind of
Okay.
funny. It was kind of
Yeah,
funny.
no, you did great. And
I'm
I
so
love how
sorry.
you acknowledged it so that I can't remove it in editing. You know what I mean?
I'm sorry.
That's so great. Like, hey, there's a sound. It's like Jeffrey. There, hey, that's a chainsaw going. Yeah, could you stop talking? I need the sample of it. No, I'm going to talk over every time the chainsaw. Hey, look, the chainsaw is going again. Stop talking over the chainsaw and stop talking about the chainsaw. Now my
I
fucking
mean,
episode's
you
45
could
minutes
cut
because
this
I
whole
cut.
thing out if you wanted. You absolutely could
No,
cut this whole thing.
no.
I think
And
it's priceless.
let's see. ADHD doesn't disappear. It's prominent in children. It's less prominent in adults, and I think that's because the note says coping. People have learned to cope with some of this stuff, so they just don't consider it as much of an issue. But I don't see how having an ADHD as a child doesn't remain in some form as an adult, you know?
You
And
know what's funny?
you're all right there.
As a kid, they told me, "Oh, it goes away as you get older."
Mm-hmm.
And then as I got older, I'm like, "This bitch ain't going away. She's still here."
Spoiler alert, it did not go away. I mean, I think what they were probably trying to say is that you develop, better coping mechanisms as an adult to deal with the symptoms that you have. But
Mm-hmm.
also, they didn't know shit back in the day, so maybe they did just think that it was going to go away. I don't know.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
okay, this is where I want to rant on this. Like, I'm somebody who's
Get the
medicated.
dubstep ready. Sorry.
I'm somebody who's medicated, and I feel like when you start medicating children at such an early age, that level of coping, that opportunity of coping at an adult age, it's not existent. I
Mm.
wouldn't say it's non-existent, but it's harder. It's a lot harder because your brain has become so dependent on these tools to help you cope that
Mm.
now, when it's not around, when let's say I'm low on my medication, you can tell. You know what I mean? Like I think I did a TikTok about how in middle school, one of my teachers had the nerve to tell me because I was a little hyperactive and rambunctious that now I know who didn't take their meds today. Which, mind you,
Mm.
that day I actually
Wow.
was on my meds. It just was very blatantly obvious that I needed to up the dosage that my body had become already so used to that dosage,
Mm.
which goes back to my point of dependence. Instead of medicating, I feel like at a young age, we should teach these coping mechanisms, fidget tools, classrooms that are a smaller size in which nobody falls behind. I don't know. There's so many other things you can do rather than just doping a child up and making them a dependent, mindless sheeple.
I like that. Kai, did you want to wrap up on anything?
That's a great question. Sure. If you're a teacher and in front of the class you talk to your student about taking their medicine and you use it as a way to demean them, to condescend to them, you are a fucking asshole. You are literally the worst person who ever lived, and I want you to lose sleep every night because you suck so bad. Don't do that to people. Don't do that to anybody, but especially don't do that to young students because you're fucking them up more than you realize. That's it.
Okay.
Thank
I'm
you.
going to say just stop judging people entirely. You don't need to, and you don't have enough information to do it. So we're all just trying to struggle through this world, and you're just making it harder if you're judging me. So please stop.
Oh, you're so much nicer than me. Wow.
He's just spitting facts over feelings. It's okay.
Facts over. Yes, I'm detaching myself from the situation to remove the personality conflicts I'm
Are
having.
you saying I'm projecting? Is that what you're fucking saying right now?
Whoa, no, I'm saying I'm projecting. You're the honest one. I just don't have a lot of school experience. Thank you everybody for listening to Inspirations Beyond Disabilities. We're going to continue this discussion, in an ongoing way. So thanks for being here. Check us out on YouTube Fridays, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, Spotify, Apple Podcast. And don't forget Unsubscribe, which is still one of my favorite shows, even though she's a lesbian. Bye.
Perfect way to end that. Oh, that's lovely.
Oh, it's priceless.
That's amazing.
I
feel like it's only fair that we put